Weather forced the game to be moved up, but Oklahoma wins in run rule fashion on Thursday night, 12-4 over St. Thomas, where JT Gasso gets his first career win as head coach. He was coaching third base. Patty Gasso had a prior engagement on Thursday night. If you didn't see the reasoning, there it is. And she had a speaking engagement that she had already committed to. Nobody thought that you were going to move a game up. You always move a game back, if anything. But since St. Thomas got to Norman early, they moved the game up to Thursday night. No TV on this game, which was interesting as well. But Patty Gasso wasn't there. JT Gasso was there. Jen Rocha was there. JT Gasso, the sitting head coach for this game. He gets his first career win as, if you want to call it, interim head coach for Oklahoma, which was a pretty cool story. Freshmen look great. Once again, I continue to say, give me more Corri Hicks. I want to see more Corri Hicks. And Cydney Barker and Gabbie Garcia. These true freshmen continue to look really, really good at the plate this week. And in the case of Gabbie Garcia and Cydney Barker, really throughout the course of the entire season. What was your big takeaway? What did you like most? What did you not like? Drop that in the comments. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. OU softball SEC content. And please like the video as well. All right, let's start with the good, because I thought that there was a lot of good offensively against St. Thomas. And look, this is one of those games that you almost look for, like, all right, where is it not going to be good enough? You're almost too critical at times in a game like this against St. Thomas, and an opponent that we all, kind of expected going in that you would end this game in 5 innings. But as we start with the good, the 8 runs in the second inning, that's good. There was no point in this game where you were ever worried about this going the distance necessarily or OU losing the game. 8 runs in the second inning immediately puts this one in run rule territory. Cydney Sanders. How about Cyd Sanders? This was nice to see. Not 1, but 2 home runs in the second inning of this game. She really got things going, starting in the second inning, which was nice to see. And I was thinking, well, when's the last time a Sooner has hit 2 home runs in the same inning? Nothing comes to mind. Nothing immediately comes to mind. Maybe it's been a while. It's Oklahoma softball. Of course, it has not been a while. Elena Torres did it March 20th of 2024 against UTA. So it's actually happened pretty recent, which is incredible with this program. But Cyd Sanders looked very good at the plate. 10 different players for Oklahoma got a hit. Some got the first hit of their career. Some got their first home runs ever at Loves Field, which is pretty cool to see. But I like that you look, up, down, middle of the order, and you see several different players get a hit. And that's what you want on a night like this, is to get several players an opportunity, and a lot of those players do something with their opportunity. 10 different players get a hit, 15 hits on the night for Oklahoma. And the freshmen did it again, guys. You scored 12 runs in this game, and 5 of those RBIs come from the true freshmen. 2 homers as well. You had Gabbie Garcia, who had an RBI. Corri Hicks with another bomb, back-to-back games with a home run for Corri Hicks. That's something to look out for. And Cydney Barker hits her first career home run at Loves Field. So Hicks and Barker, their first career home runs at Loves Field. Garcia has an RBI. Hicks has an RBI. Barker has 3 RBIs. That's 5 of the 12 runs, or 5 of the 12 RBIs that you had on the night. Best performers at the plate to me, got to start with Cyd. 2 for 3, 2 home runs in the same inning. She had 4 RBIs. Gabbie Garcia just continues to do it at a high level. It's when I see 3 for 3 next to Gabbie Garcia's stat line, it's just, it was just another day at the park for Gabbie Garcia. 3 for 3 last night, 2 runs scored and an RBI. And I mentioned Cyd Barker. She was 1 for 1 with a home run and 3 RBIs. And these freshmen just continue to produce at a high level. And I see all the comments that you guys drop. I am not in the minority of this. You want to see more of the freshmen too. And how could you not? Now, there are other positions right now where you have players playing very well that aren't true freshmen. So are we talking about seeing Corri Hicks against Alabama next week? Are we talking about Cydney Barker being an everyday player? Like, you can count on her to start every single game once we get back to SEC play. Ultimately, we'll see. The point is that now, you look at Corri Hicks and say, if we need somebody in a pinch hit role or we need a big hits, we're not going to hesitate to put Corri Hicks in there. Needed some confidence as the season got on, needed to get kind of acclimated to the college game, and she has. She's got a ton of power, what we thought that she was on signing day with all the natural power that she has. I'll be very interested moving forward to see how many more opportunities does Corri Hicks get. And I'm not even talking necessarily about the Alabama series or the Mississippi State series. I'm talking about the next 2 games coming up against UCF if you're able to get those in. Like, she's proved to you, yes, against lesser opponents, but she's proved to you that she can hit the long ball. It's back-to-back games with the home run now. And in a lot of ways, it feels like she's a hot hitter right now. And if you've got a hot hitter in the order, then you want to give them more opportunities. So good to see her get in the game last night. And now moving forward, I want to see if she gets more opportunities, including this weekend against UCF. Hannah Core, her first career multi-hit game, which is cool to see. Riley Zakay had her first career hit last night. So just a lot of good offensively up and down the order. You had the home runs that you want. You just had a lot of good hitting last night, and you scored 12 runs. And, of course, since you're the home team in a 5-inning run rule, you don't even bat in the bottom of the 5th inning. So really in 4 innings, 4 frames for the Oklahoma offense, they put up some very nice numbers. And at the same time, you expect them to put up very nice numbers against a team like St. Thomas. So offensively, I give, considering the opponent, I give pretty high marks that you still see the freshmen produce at a high level. You get to see some firsts in a career, whether it's Hannah Core, whether it's Riley Zakay, whether it's Hicks and Barker hitting their first career home run at Loves Field. I think overall you're very, very happy with what you saw offensively last night. And I want to give a tip of the cap to the crowd. This wasn't announced until, around 11 o'clock that, hey, there was no game today. Now there is a game today, and it's at 7 p.m., and the weather's not going to be great. And still, there was a reported attendance of 3,623 at the game last night. That's awesome. Most programs across the country hope that they can get over 3,600 fans for their biggest game of the year. OU gets that in a rescheduled game moved up against St. Thomas. It's awesome. I don't know if there were actually 3,600 butts in the seats. Couldn't see the game last night because there was no television, but that was the reported attendance last night, and that is just another sign that Oklahoma leads the way in growing this sport. Also got a text from a buddy that I guess one of the Facebook pages was live streaming the game last night, and over 4,000 at one point was watching the live stream of that game of someone sitting behind home plate with their phone up just recording the game. It's awesome, man. It's just awesome how many people care about this program, how many people invest in this program, and on a Thursday night, you're watching someone else's, recorded phone sitting there behind home plate. I thought that was really neat. So the offense, good. I think overall, this is a game that you say, it's not going to change your mind in a good way about this team. So you just kind of take the win and move on and hope that you can win in 5 innings and play good softball against UCF. The offense, I think overall, I'll give it pretty high marks. The pitching, just kind of right? And if you watch the video that I put out on Thursday afternoon, it's kind of the 5 big storylines heading into this weekend, or even the 5 things that I wanted to see the most. And first thing I mentioned is Kierston Deal's next start. She had probably her, worst outing of the season against Wichita State, and then she came back with the best outing of the season, maybe the best outing of her career, Saturday against Tennessee. Now, I wanted to see the next start because I, like you, got very excited about Kierston Deal after what she did Saturday against Tennessee. So what do we get now? Do we get that's going to be consistent moving forward? Or do we revert back to maybe the inconsistencies that Kierston Deal has shown so far this year? I mean, she wasn't bad in her start. I believe she walked the leadoff hitter, if I remember correctly. 2 innings pitched for KD, 2 hits allowed, 1 earned run, 1 walk, and no strikeouts. Just okay, and she was probably never going to throw a ton of innings last night, and I'm going to guess that we see her start at some point this weekend, maybe even in the Saturday game against UCF. We'll see moving forward. I hope that we can see that level of Kierston Deal again, but that certainly wasn't the case last night against St. Thomas. And I'm not writing her off and saying that, it was a fluke, it was a joke, and we're never going to see that again. But I'm hoping that we get back to seeing that Kierston Deal in her next start, because I think it would be extremely valuable if she proves to be the number 2 arm this year. Isabella Smith, just all right. 2 innings pitched, 1 hit allowed, no earned runs, 1 walk and 2 strikeouts. And then Peyton Monticelli, not her best outing. 1 inning, she gave up 2 hits, 3 earned runs, and a couple of walks, no strikeouts. So the stat that I don't love from the OU pitchers last night is 4 walks to just 2 strikeouts. This feels like a St. Thomas order that you should be able to strike out, and I guess, none of those 3 have really just had an insane high strikeout number, so it's really more the walks than anything else. But against an opponent like St. Thomas, you just want to attack the strike zone. Go after the strike zone. And the fact that you have 2 times as many walks as strikeouts is just not the number that you want. You want to come out in a game like this and just hammer the strike zone. You've got good enough stuff to get those hitters out. You've got an elite defense behind you. Let them work. And I'm sure that's what Jen Rocha said. I'm sure that's what JT Gasso said. I'm sure that's what Patty Gasso is going to say when she talks to the team today is, when you're a pitcher, it doesn't matter if you're facing Florida, Tennessee, or St. Thomas. Go attack the strike zone. Don't get behind in counts. Don't issue walks. Don't give a team like St. Thomas free opportunities on the base paths. And you did that with 4 walks last night. So that was a tad disappointing. So I'm going to guess Sam Landry gets a start at some point this weekend, maybe even tonight, the 7 p.m. game. At least it's scheduled for 7 p.m. against UCF. That's what I want to see from these pitchers moving forward. Let's not fall behind in counts. Let's not walk hitters. Let's attack the strike zone. You've got such an elite defense behind you. Trust them. They're going to make plays. They've shown us that they can make the high-level plays. Infield, outfield, it does not matter. So not a whole lot of excuses to get behind counts and to walk a lot of hitters. You got that defense behind you. Let them work for you, and let them make plays. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to get a ton of strikeouts. This defense is good enough behind you to make a lot of things work. So, hey, it's a win. You're 33-3 on the year. You move on. A couple of games against UCF coming up, which will be a little bit more challenging. But high marks from the offense, which you like to see, and I'd like to see as many players be productive tonight and into tomorrow as we saw on Thursday night. So as always, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Happy Friday to the weekend. We've made it, and hopefully we have some softball. I feel like we're probably going to. Hopefully that's the case. And we'll talk to you soon. Talk to you this weekend. As always, thank you for watching.